Japanese pilots couldn't believe it. One aircraft, alone, in the night sky over the Pacific. And yet, within just 80 minutes, 4 Japanese bombers vanished from the darkness. How could a single American fighter stalk, intercept, and destroy multiple enemy aircraft under cover of night without being seen until it was already too late? This is the story of the Northrop P-61 Black Widow, the first aircraft in history designed from the ground up as a night fighter. And this is the story of one extraordinary mission in the closing months of World War II, when Japanese air crews learned, too late, that the night itself had teeth. The date was August 1945. The location, the skies over the western Pacific near Okinawa. The units involved, the 548th Night Fighter Squadron, United States Army Air Forces. Little did the men climbing into their bomber cockpits that night know what happened next would become legendary. By mid-1945, the Pacific War had entered its final blood-soaked phase. The island of Okinawa had fallen after months of brutal combat, but the victory came at a terrible cost. Over 12,000 American dead, tens of thousands wounded. Yet for Japan, the situation was far worse. The Imperial Japanese Army Air Force was bleeding pilots, aircraft, and fuel. Daylight bombing raids were increasingly suicidal. American fighters dominated the skies, and radar-guided anti-aircraft fire ringed every major target. So the Japanese adapted. They turned to the night. Under cover of darkness, small formations of Japanese bombers, often Mitsubishi K-67 Hiryu or K-48 Lily aircraft, slipped across the sea, flying low, navigating by moonlight and dead reckoning. Their targets were American airfields, supply dumps, and troop concentrations on Okinawa. They believed the night protected them. They were wrong. Waiting in the darkness was a machine unlike anything the Japanese had encountered before. The Northrop P-61 Black Widow, twin-engined, twin-boom, nearly 50 feet long, armed with 4 20mm Hispano cannons in the belly and 4 .50 caliber machine guns in a dorsal turret. But its deadliest weapon was invisible. Inside the nose was SCR-720 airborne radar, capable of detecting enemy aircraft more than 5 miles away, even in total darkness, cloud, or rain. While Japanese bombers crept through the night relying on human eyesight, the P-61 hunted by electronic echo. Each Black Widow carried a crew of 3, a pilot, responsible for flying and firing the cannons, a gunner controlling the turret, and a radar operator staring into a glowing green scope, calmly guiding the aircraft toward unseen prey. Together, they formed a single lethal organism. By the summer of 1945, the men of the 548th Night Fighter Squadron were some of the most experienced night hunters in the Pacific. And on this particular night, one crew would write history. Shortly after 2100 hours, radar stations on Okinawa began picking up faint, intermittent contacts approaching from the northwest. The blips were small, slow, low-flying enemy bombers. Air raid sirens wailed across the island as searchlights swept the sky. Anti-aircraft batteries went on alert, their crews tense, fingers resting on firing switches. Inside a revetment at Yontan Airfield, a single P-61 sat ready, engines idling. The pilot, a seasoned night fighter ace, received the scramble order. Bandits inbound, night interception authorized. Moments later, the Black Widow rolled down the runway, its twin Pratt & Whitney R-2800 engines roaring into the darkness. As the aircraft climbed, the radar operator leaned forward, eyes fixed on the scope. At first, nothing. Then, slowly, a blip appeared. Range, 5 miles. Altitude, 8,000 feet, heading southeast. The Japanese bomber ahead felt confident. The night was calm. Visibility was limited, but manageable. No fighters had challenged them so far. They had no idea they were already being tracked. Contact solid, the radar operator said quietly. Closing, the pilot adjusted course by degrees, trusting his unseen guide. For long minutes, the 2 aircraft flew on converging paths, one blind, the other all-seeing. At 2 miles, the Black Widow cut its engine power slightly, reducing exhaust flame and noise. At 1 mile, the pilot still saw nothing. Then, a shadow. The Japanese bomber loomed ahead, its dark shape barely visible against the stars. The pilot edged closer. Just 200 yards, a Japanese crew never saw the attack coming. The P-61 fired. 4 20mm Hispano cannons erupted in a deafening roar. Tracer rounds tore into the bomber's fuselage, ripping through wings, engines, and cockpit. The Japanese aircraft burst into flames, spiraling downward in pieces. The entire engagement lasted less than 5 seconds. The first bomber was gone. By 2200 hours, the radar operator was already calling out another contact, then another. The sky was alive with prey. The Japanese raid was larger than initially believed. At least 6 bombers spread out to avoid detection, but the Black Widow had patience and time. For the next 80 minutes, the P-61 prowled the darkness. Intercept, close, fire, kill, over and over. Each time, the radar operator calmly counted down the distance. Each time, the pilot trusted the instruments more than his eyes. The Japanese crews, meanwhile, were terrified. Explosions appeared out of nowhere. Aircraft vanished without warning. No tracers, no dogfights, just sudden death from the blackness. Some tried to turn back. Others jettisoned their bombs blindly. It made no difference. By 22:35 hours, the third bomber was intercepted at 6,500 feet, caught while descending toward its target. The Black Widow slid in from below, firing upward into the bomber's fuel tanks. The explosion lit the sky like a dying star. Fear gripped the remaining Japanese crews. They were being hunted by something they could not see, something that did not need the moon. The radar operator called the fourth contact at 2300 hours. This one flew low, just 3,000 feet, hugging the terrain, hoping to escape detection. It didn't work. As the P-61 descended toward the fourth bomber, the situation suddenly changed. Japanese anti-aircraft fire from the coast opened up. Bright flak bursts filled the sky. The Black Widow was now flying directly into danger. Low altitude, hostile fire, limited maneuvering room. One hit could end everything. Shrapnel rattled against the fuselage. The aircraft shuddered. The pilot had a choice: break off or finish the hunt. Against impossible odds, he pressed on. The radar operator's voice remained steady, but his hands trembled slightly on the scope. Contact, dead ahead, half-mile. The bomber suddenly turned, perhaps alerted by sound or instinct. For the first time that night, the Japanese crew saw something, a dark, monstrous shape rising behind them. They opened fire with defensive machine guns. Tracers sliced past the Black Widow's cockpit. The gunner responded, unleashing the dorsal turret. The sky erupted in crossfire at point-blank range. Then, the cannons spoke again. The fourth bomber disintegrated, its wings tearing away as flames consumed the fuselage. Wreckage rained into the sea below. Inside the P-61, silence returned, broken only by engine noise and heavy breathing. 4 bombers destroyed. In just 80 minutes, fuel was running low, ammunition nearly expended. The pilot turned for home. The night wasn't finished yet. As they climbed away, one last radar contact flickered briefly, then vanished. Either the final bomber had escaped, or it had turned back in terror. The Black Widow did not pursue. The mission was complete. The impact of that night went far beyond 4 destroyed aircraft. For the Japanese Air Command, it was a psychological shock. Night bombing, once considered relatively safe, was now deadly. Reports from surviving crews described an invisible American fighter that attacked without warning. Some believed it was guided by supernatural means. Others simply refused to fly night missions afterwards. For the U.S. Army Air Forces, the mission proved the full potential of radar-guided night combat. The P-61 was no longer experimental, it was decisive. The crew's actions disrupted the raid entirely. No bombs struck their intended targets that night. American ground units slept, unaware of how close destruction had come. What happened next would become legendary within Night Fighter circles. The mission report confirmed 4 confirmed kills, one of the highest single night tallies in the Pacific Theater. The pilot and radar operator received official commendations. Their teamwork, precision, trust, and nerve was cited as exemplary. But like so many stories of the war, it faded quietly into the archives. No headlines, no parades, just another night survived. Within days, the war would end. In August 1945, a atomic bombs fell on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Japan surrendered shortly afterwards. The night war over the Pacific was over. The P-61 Black Widow would soon be retired, replaced by jet aircraft and newer radar systems. Yet its legacy endured. It proved that the darkness could be mastered. Across all theaters, P-61 crews were credited with over 120 enemy aircraft destroyed, many without the enemy ever seeing their attacker. For the Japanese airmen lost that night, there were no last words, only sudden fire and falling silence. For the Americans on the ground, there was another dawn. This was not a battle of armies. It was a battle of minds, machines, and nerves. And on that night, one Black Widow ruled the sky. This was just one of countless untold stories from the Second World War. Subscribe to WW2 Records as we continue to bring these forgotten chapters of history back to life.